Welcome back to yet another episode of Meet the Polymaker. I'm your host, Nighcore, and behind me somewhere in another state is Dstrbdmedic running all the buttons and switches. So welcome again, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the support. Today's show, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start off with talking about some crazy deals in the market currently. Looking to some integration of 3D printing in the automotive field. Also look at some more medical. We've kind of touched base on that before. And then also some. Well, that's it. Actually, that's what we got. So I missed my place here, fellas. So anyway, with that said, and with that little jumbled mess, let's get right into the news. As I said, we're going to talk about some deals out in the market. A lot of people have probably already heard about this. Bamboo Lab has reduced the price of their A1 mini printer. An amazing printer. When it was released, it came out at $459 for the combo, which that's the 4-color AMS setup, and then $299 for just the standalone printer. This was basically a matchup with the Prusa Mini. The price point was already ahead of the Prusa Mini, especially adding in that multicolor option. So now for them to reduce the price, now at $249 for just the printer, $399 for a printer with 4-color option. That is just crazy. And it's not too long ago, Ender 3s with a single, very slow, okay quality printers were upwards of $250 if you go back far enough. So this is an amazing deal. If you don't know about the A1 Mini, it's got a 180 cubed volume print bed. Again, the AMS options with the 4-color printing, painting, high speed quality, same as the P1 X1. I'm fortunate enough to have kind of each one of the series. It performs right up to par with the quality's there, the speed is there. The color changing actually is quicker in some models, depending. So just an amazing printer. And the thing is, with the price drop, sometimes in the market we see a price drop. It sometimes is a precursor to something to come. Do I know that? I do not. Do I have any inside information? I do not. If I did, I would share it with you today. So maybe this is something, as a sign of, as we talked, I think a couple episodes ago, the big printer. We're all waiting for that big bamboo. So we shall wait and see. But next up, we're going to talk about another company. It's Ember Prototypes. It's a rapid prototyping and 3D printing engineering product development company. They specialize in 3D printing, laser cutting, engraving, vacuum forming, and product design. The reason we're talking about them today, I mean, they of course do a whole long list of things. They're starting to make a headway with some really cool custom textured PEI build sheets. This isn't just for the bamboo. They have multiple options on their website. And what's neat about them is there's a couple options. You can get your logo, a design. You could do hexagon, circles, stars, however you want, for just a cool design, whether you're doing time lapses, sharing live feeds. Oh, I apologize for that loud noise. That was not, I apologize, audio difficulties. But anyway, so the options they have on these, like I said, you can have them. I don't even know if it's etched. I haven't seen one in person yet, but the whatever they do with them, they can put your design on it for looks, or you can get a thicker one. Will actually transfer those designs onto the bottom of your prints, or if you're printing face down, onto the front of your prints. Basically, it'll deboss the print, putting a little indent. So you can do a lot of little Polymaker logos, and those are going to show up on your print. I think it's really cool. I know a couple people. Dstrbdmedic has ordered a couple, so we'll get some feedback from him when he gets them. Right now, they are opened up on their website for a pre-order, and from what I understand, is they're taking pre-orders, I think, up till March or the end of March, and then they're going to close that. And then what they're going to do is get those all fulfilled and then reopen it back up. So right now is your chance. Hopefully, somebody in the chat can link it. James, if you can, there we go. Awesome. So there's your link for Ember Prototypes. They're not that much more expensive than just buying the build plate plain Jane from, say, Bamboo. Again, there's Voron sizes, Prusa. There's a long list. So if you're interested, definitely check them out. I'm interested in getting one myself, so we'll see how it goes. So next up, we are going to talk about some 3D printing in the automotive industry. So specifically, what we're showing here is going to be an unofficial Ferrari Testarossa EV concept. Just caught my eye because I'm into cars. The car itself looks cool. It's got a lot of details and edges to it. But what it is that this is actually generated or designed by Brian Kim. He's a digital creator that's known for CGI, and body kit design for vehicles. So he actually just typically does the renders. He has that 3D render, which you can see on the screen. He can show some detail, but really the thing is seeing it physically. Whether you're touching it, spinning around, turning different angles, light hitting it. So normally, what most manufacturers do is they've used clay, they've used wood, they've used aluminum framing, they've used milling to do concepts to kind of get that feel, and also test aerodynamics. So some of the actual scientific stuff in it. So this one, like I said, it's unofficial, but he actually commissioned somebody to 3D print it for the fact that he wanted the detail to show more. That way, you can again turn it in, get the different angles of it. So I thought it was really cool. What I see this becoming is obviously there's a lot of companies that use 3D printing and a lot of what they do in prototyping. I see this being a lot quicker with a very fine detail option for the concepts. So these R&D teams wanting to design 3D print, see how it works, see how it flows in a wind tunnel. There's a lot of cool options. So obviously there's so many more options for automotive stuff with 3D printing. Some of you out there may have printed some stuff. I've printed some parts for where I work, some little replacement parts, some bezel pieces. Some people have done some pretty big options. I believe at Rocky Mountain, we're going to have a 3D printed car there. So that is going to be on display. So if you're there, check that out. But like I said, just really awesome to see the more integration into everything, whether it be food, medical, automotive, architecture, like last week we talked about. So just very excited. So that is what you got for automotive. We're going to move next to this is actually a community member submitted by Bob from California. Often hangs out in the Hangouts. He actually made me aware of this article. It is the world's first bioprinted transplant. The item that transplanted was a trachea. So it's a bio 3D printed. It was generated using adult stem cells from another person. It was a successful transplant. It was actually done out of Korea, a team out of University or Catholic University of Korea was able to perform it. It was led by Professor Kim Sung Won from the university's ear, nose, and health or throat department. The patient they worked on was a 50-year-old female. And like I said, from what I've read so far, everything is there's no rejection. She's doing well. So it represents a real significant move forward in, like I said, the use of 3D printing and more just our fun stuff, even in automotive, but the betterment of human life. I mean, to be able to, we've talked about brain tissue. That wasn't for transplant, but for testing and seeing how diseases react. It's going to give us a larger plate to look at to get some better ideas of maybe some cures and helping people along the way. So very excited to see more stuff there. I'm sure we'll share more in the future. Last but not least, we're going to talk about HueForge. We've talked about it a couple times. A lot of people are aware of it. Amazing software. If you hang out in the Hangout, we've got some sneak peeks of some upcoming features. Steve, the creator, one of the creators, actually has come in and shared his screen and showed us some upcoming things and some integrations, some really cool things coming. But right now, what's really cool is if you did not buy HueForge during the first partnership with Polymaker, where you could buy any of the license and you would have the same amount of voucher and Polymaker filament, they're bringing it back. And now it's a little bit smaller scale. This is only for the personal use license. It's $18. You buy the license, you get the software, which again, $18 is a steal for what that software does and what it's going to continue doing with all the updates. They are just Steve is working on it nonstop, and he's got a team that helps him find bugs and create more just awesome features, easy to use features. So like I said, this time just the personal use license. But if you purchase it, you will get a separate email that's going to have a voucher for Polymaker. This is for U.S. and Canada only. So sorry for Europeans, nothing for that yet. We'll see what we can work out, but that's going to get you $18 in free filament. So you can look at it as you buy the software, you get roughly a spool of filament for free, or you buy a spool of filament, you get free software. Either way, I mean, if you haven't bought it yet, now's the time. That is active currently. Right now, there's no expiration, so I would just suggest getting it as soon as possible. So again, it's $18 personal license. You buy that, you get $18 off Polymaker's website. So with that all said, we're going to go ahead and move right into the print showcase. So today's first print is going to be a compact swatch holder printed and created by Sco Davis. This is going to be shared on Maker World. He actually printed this one in various Polymaker PLAs. Swatches, for those that don't know, um, they've been used in many things: carpet, paint samples. When you're trying to figure out, is this color going to work with what I need it to? So Bamboo Lab, of course, it's sent like a whole, almost like a necklace of swatches of the filament they had at the time that you can match up, see what color is going to work for you. Um, Transition real quick. App.polymaker.com also will help you pick colors that match close to what you're looking for. But this is cool. This is a physical. That way, when you print the plastic, you know exactly what it looks like. You can hold it up to something, and then rather than just having a drawer full of little tiles, this is just a good organization to keep them all in place rather than scattered throughout the house. Unless you have kids like me, they're going to end up scattered anyway. Next up, we're going to look at the articulated. Mind you, real quick on this, people. James has picked the longest titles of everything to see if he can, tongue tie me. But this is the articulated Easterbot egg bunny by, and excuse me if it's mispronunciation, Jatenen 3D. It's printed by Dandelion 88. That one I pronounced right. And Polymaker Silk, Dual Silk, and Starlight. So of course, Easter is coming up real soon. There are a ton of awesome Easter prints out there. If you like robots, if your kids, especially kids, if your kids like them, why not hide a few of these around the house, around the yard? Let them find them. Next up, we're going to look at a Jeep kit card. This is printed by Badlam, created by HP Biz, and it is shared on Thingiverse. This was printed in the Polymaker Olive Green, just old style Army Jeep. I've seen a handful of these that are just really awesome. The cool thing with this is it's a card print. Then you can clip out the pieces, build it almost like a old style model, just a very simplified version. So again, very very cool print. And then last, and this, okay, so the one displayed, I'm being told it was scaled at 500%. So normally it's going to be a little bit smaller, but of course, if you got the build space, it doesn't take that much filament as the way it prints. So it's definitely a cool one to size up how you please. To be the scientist column display. That is actually our display for the official Polymaker scientists at the RepRap festivals and some other festivals in between. You're going to see it displayed. This is a new iteration. You're going to see it displayed Rocky Mountain here in just a few weeks. And what you're actually looking at is 460 total hours of print time. That's 19.14 days if you're using one printer, 6.5 days if you're running a printer, three P1Ss 24/7. All these were printed in PLA Pro Black. They look sharp. They're actually all specifically sized and notched for the scientists. That way, this year, all our scientists are going to be automatically looking all the same way. Just it's going to look amazing. We're going to have, of course, each event's going to have more and more scientists because Polymaker doesn't stop putting out filament. So come check it out at the booth this year. Like I said, if you come to any of the rep wraps, it's going to just get larger and larger. We might eventually run out of table space. So we're gonna have some more stuff going on at the booth that Nick will be going live hopefully soon to talk about that. But again, this was printed by Sideline Review, one of our community members. Been a great help in things. So it's just, I haven't seen this larger one in person yet, but I know it was. I got the information here. There's 402 total columns, total size laid out. They're actually notched so they can puzzle piece together. 96 inches by 30 inches. That takes up a ton of space. And then in the end, they actually all stack on each other, and they will fit into two total boxes that are only 24 inches by 24 inches. So transport's going to be so much easier. You don't have to throw them into a box, hoping that they don't break and run into each other, scratch each other. So again, it's going to be an awesome thing to get a look at Rocky Mountain, along with the Midwest Rep Rap and 3D Printopia, and I believe some of the PCT and things. So just keep your eyes peeled, and you'll be able to see those. But next up, what we're going to do is we're going to get our segment for the Polymaker of the day. But until then, we're going to be right back after these messages.
Whoa, I'd love to get into 3D printing, but I live here on the sun where the UV rays are nuts.
Wait just one moment there, strapping young chap. Have you ever heard of Polymaker ASA? Polymaker ASA is UV resistant, so it is the perfect application for printing near or around the sun.
No way, bro.
Yes way, brosif. Here, Try it out.
Radical, man.
If you need a weather-resistant material, make sure you check out Polymaker's ASA.
Printing on the sun is no problem at all with Polymaker ASA.
Are you into cosplay and prop making? Are you tired of having to break out those power tools to sand those lines away? And don't forget about all that hand sanding. Cramps. Ouch. Introducing Polymaker's Cos PLA, available in 2 different versions, version A and version B. Both versions are still easier to sand than standard PLA. Find out more at us.polymaker.com.
Has this ever happened to you? Have you just been minding your own business and you drop your PLA print?
There's gotta be a better way.
Well, now there is. With our Polylite PLA Pro, you won't have to worry about dropping your PLA prints ever again. Just look how these tests held up to our drop test, the same one that we did with PLA. If you need even more impact resistance, make sure you check out our Polymax PLA. This hammer is no match for Polymax PLA.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch. I dropped it again from the 12th floor and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external conditions. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Welcome back to Meet the Polymaker. You're here for the main event, the Meet the Maker. This one hails all the way from the far reaches of the galaxy. Hailing in from the Galactic Armory, we have General Spear. And there's a little bit of delay, but here we go, and there we go. We had a little bit of delay there, but welcome in. Thank you for coming and allowing us to meet you, see who you are, what you do. So
thank you.
So with that said, who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name is Christopher. First off, I lifelong artist. I, have a background in illustration. Last several years, I've been doing 3D printing. I've been doing sewing. I've been doing cosplay, costuming, just a bunch of different stuff. I'm a member of the 501st Legion within the Star Wars costuming community, as well as a member of the Rebel Legion. And yeah, as mentioned, I'm also one of the employees at Galactic Armory, which is a really fun time for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen the collection and it's amassed so much. I've been able to catch some of your applications. It's just, yeah, it's amazing what they've done. Now with Galactic Armory, is there, and I know I've heard from James, is there a little bit of backstory? How'd you get involved and how's your experience been with them?
Sure. So I actually, my involvement with Galactic Armory goes back to, 2018, thereabouts. I first learned about Aaron, who runs Galactic Armory, back when he was going under the handle of Big Baby Props, way back when on YouTube kind of deal. For those that are familiar with Galactic Armory, that's kind of a running joke and has been for the last several years. But I've known of at least the channel, the YouTube channel, for about that long, because that's when I started kind of getting into the realm of learning about 3D printing and whatever else. And I didn't really get my own 3D printer until like the start of the pandemic, like 2020 kind of deal. So it was through Aaron's videos about 3D printing and, just him building a clone and whatever else that I really kind of got really involved with kind of the integral elements of 3D printing when it comes to cosplay. I had already built a few costumes beforehand from like kits and a few other things, but this was relatively new territory at the time. And then we met up on social media, I think like through Instagram, like not long after that. I think late 2020, early 2021 kind of deal. And we've collabed on a few things. And then earlier last year, April of 2023, is when I got a job offer to come work at Galactic Armory, like officially kind of deal. And not only would I be doing a lot of the stuff that was already be done in the shop with regards to tutorials for like helmet videos and stuff like that, painting and working with like the 3D printed kits and showing people how to put them together, I would also be taking my skill sets in soft goods with like leather and sewing and whatever else. And we would be adding that repertoire to the shop as well, because I had already been producing like commas for clone troopers and pauldrons and whatever else on my own. And he was like, let's bring this over here, shall we? And it's been a lot of
good addition to the team for sure.
Absolutely. And I've been able to use my whole skill set as a whole, which actually just recently our shop technician went on vacation and they entrusted me with keeping the bamboos that we have in the shop running and everything, because I have experience running my own print farm, smaller of course. So they walked me through the paces of how the bamboos worked, and it worked like a dream. So
is that experience good? So do you have bamboos in your print farm, or?
I don't yet. I actually run the Neptune 3s from Elegoo. I have a Pro model, and then I have 2 Neptune Maxes, which they're actually running in the background right now.
Glass printers, yeah.
Absolutely. They were actually my upgrade to what I ran for a long time, which was the Creality CR10S models. I actually at one point had about 6 of them at my old shop back in California where I would have lived before, and they were getting old. They did not have the parts available to fix them and whatever else. And so I was looking at alternatives. But the next printer that I do want to get is a bamboo. I've actually been looking at the P1S as my next potential model for that. So
yeah. Now you said, of course, you went from California and moved to work for Galactic Army. How was that transition? Because they're in Wisconsin, is that correct? Or
they're in Iowa. They're in Iowa. So at a certain point, yes. It was an interesting transition. Not only was it was interesting from several things, not just in terms of the climate and everything that was going on terms of I'd be moving from, essentially a very well populated state kind of deal for the most part to a state that, it's very sparse. There's not that many like big cities in Iowa. You have Des Moines, you have Sioux City up in the Northwest, you have and a few other scattering bits, but even those cities are small in comparison to San Francisco, Los Angeles, et cetera, et cetera. So there was that aspect. I also was transitioning out of retail to this new job. And I remember, when I got the offer, asking my wife, here's what I got. What do you think? And I am one of those people in which, I will put my wife and my son, I will put my family first kind of deal.
100%.
I wouldn't even consider this if they said no, but they said yes. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. The other thing, and I won't get into this aspect, but right around May, right around mid-May, so about a month later after I got the offer, is when my mom passed, unfortunately. And so, thank you. And so, not only was I faced, because my move and start date was right around August, so I had time. But what I didn't anticipate on was not only being able to help out, not only being able to focus on my move out, but also my dad at the time looking to pack up the belongings. And he was a 2-hour drive from me, basically, at that point. And so packing up his belongings and helping with the house and everything there. And it's just like,
There's a lot all at once,
it was a
and preparing
lot
for
all
such a
at
huge change. Oh yeah.
absolutely, absolutely a lot all at once. But I will say, compared to where I was, because I like I said before, I was working retail. I was also working for myself, so I was doing anywhere between 12 and 16-hour days.
Oh yeah.
I was also a father at the time of a 1-year-old kind of deal. I was trying to be a good husband and everything for my wife and whatnot. And so this transition was a really good one in the fact that it allowed me to really be in a job where I enjoyed what it was that I was doing. I was basically going to be doing the same thing and more that I already was doing for myself.
Yeah.
And it,
Yeah, and
it was
not
a
everybody
no-
can say that. Not everybody can
No,
say that their job is something they enjoy. And a lot of us,
absolutely.
I've worked retail for many years, and is it my favorite thing in the world? Absolutely not. Like I enjoy, of course, 3D printing is my obsession. The community is always amazing. I love interacting with the community. This has been a new venture for me. That's been just fun. But yeah, now with that move too, so whether it be restaurant or anything, is there any like what's one thing that you do miss about California?
Oh gosh. I mean, I
In and
definitely
Out
have.
Burger.
I mean, In and Out's pretty good. Also there's Shake Shack too and whatever else. But
Yeah.
I would say it's kind of just I miss the people that I've gotten to know over the years. I'm born and raised in California, so a lot of my friend group and family is out there kind of
Oh,
deal.
there.
And so even though I'm a people person, this is still a very much getting used to this whole aspect. One thing that actually has made this transition a little bit more interesting is that my wife and I decided that because of the turnaround, it was going to be easier for us to have me move out first. And then they are going to be moving out. They actually are going to be moving here. My wife and son, they'll be moving here next weekend kind of deal. So I've been away
Oh,
from
that's gonna
them
be awesome.
for about 6 months kind of deal. We've seen each other for the holidays, but it was
To
interesting.
come home to that. That's
Yes.
one thing I know. Especially, I've got 5 kids and my wife, and long day at work, come home, and sometimes the kids do a lot of stuff. The wife takes them to those things because she's usually home before I am, and to come home to an empty house, and that's just and for me it's temporary, and it's
Yeah.
temporary for you too, but it's
Yeah.
less there. It's more temporary for me, and and then they eventually come home, and it's coming home to that, not having that kid yell at you, whether it be changing. How old is your child now?
He's
Diaper
2
still?
now. He's
Okay,
2
so
now,
you're still
yeah.
you got 6 months of you know away from diaper changing and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
might want to get
definitely.
on the potty training like right away.
Oh, we're
Avoid
on
that.
it. We're definitely on it,
Yeah.
so but
Uh,
no.
no, but that's awesome. Now, is there any with of course you do a ton of cosplay. Galactic Armory's inventory is massive. Is there any upcoming big projects you're working on that you can talk about or that you're excited about?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to remember all of the repertoire projects we are doing and slash are looking forward to doing. One thing that we're really big on right now is Helldivers.
Oh yeah.
That has I was actually just talking about this on a live stream I did for Instagram recently. Because on my Instagram I do occasional, workshop stuff and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And Helldivers for us has been nuts. It has been insane. We actually have a Patreon associated with Galactic Armory and everything. And our Patreon at the start of the year started at around like 2,300 thereabout subscribers kind of deal.
Yeah.
We are, I think we're at 4,500.
Congratulations on
So
that. Almost a
we
double, and
almost. I don't know if it's
man.
quite that much, but we're definitely over
Either way,
4,000.
2,000. I would say either way, 2,000 gain is that's insane.
We
That's some
when
traction.
when we said that we were doing when we announced that we were doing Helldivers stuff, we started with the B1 tactical helmet and specifically like the files kind of deal. And then shortly after we did the DIY kits, we then started doing the Heroes of the Federation, which was like the next popular helmet kind of deal. And we did those, which was great, and we got a lot of stuff from it. But then we started offering visors for both of them. And I kid you not, we have been doing like around 100, somewhere between 100 and 200 visors a week for about a month and a half. It has been insane. It has been literally insane. And that's been a combination of like B1 Tactical, Heroes of the Federation. We now have, of course, Champion the People. We're going to be looking at eventually doing the one where it was part of the pre-order for Helldivers 2, which was the savior of the free or something like that,
and the armor, and
the
gold and the wings and everything.
Yep, the wings and whatnot. I actually have one printing right now because I want to do a Lord of the Rings Fountain Guard kind of paint job on that one, which I think would be fun. But no, it's we joked recently where it's like, are we just a visor shop now? Like, is that all we're doing these days, kind of thing? Which is it's a great problem to have.
Now, with visors, are you saying? Are you meaning basically like pre-cut visors? So if you print the helmet, you can put it in, or what exactly are you saying is the visor?
So specifically, take the B1 tactical helmet from Helldivers, which is like the default. That's what you start with, kind of deal. There is a custom designed visor that in game that goes with that. Well, people can throw in like a cut up Hobart shield, and that'd be fine. But we offer a vacuum formed, like that has been actually 3D printed, like
specifically.
It has been modeled initially, from the helmet itself to fit a 100% scale printed helmet, or if it's within like about 2 or 3%, it will still fit, kind of deal. But it's identical to what you get in game. And so people
now, are there custom colors? Like, can you choose a color? Or are you making them specific colors for each helmet?
Most of the ones we've done so far have been black for the B1 Tacticals, which is how they show up in the game. We have done one order that I can recall in which it was gold with a chrome, like a hydrochromed tint behind it. So it's very identical to what we do for our Halo visors, and also for the, I believe it's the Champion of the People is the other one that we do that for. So we have done a few different variations, but there's that. Let's see.
Now I know below you is a coupon code or discount code, right, for Galactic Army. Does that include visors, or is that for digital only?
It's for everything. So 10% off your order, essentially. So Spear 91.
And if anybody's in the Hangout, James or Disturbed Medic, he has shared a lot of the the devices, we'll say, and the helmets and everything. They're amazing. If it wasn't for the projects we're working on, like I'm definitely going to be printing some, because I've enjoyed some Helldivers myself. Even if you're not a fan, the helmets are cool. I cannot wait to see the Savior one. Because that is just, I mean, it's cool in game. I can't imagine being able to have it on, put it on, and that's like I said, now's your time to get 10% off. So I just want to transition to that because I know we're talking about it. But if the visors, I'm definitely going to look into myself, because I've done the Hobart shield. So the welding shields and cut them and then trying to form them and hot glue it and everything else. It works. It's just not. It's not the funnest thing to mess with. But no, that's gonna be awesome. Now with the cosplay and everything, is there? Of course, there's Helldivers, there's Star Wars, there's all that. Has there been any cosplay that you're a huge fan of? Like I said, whatever genre it might be, that you haven't seen modeled yet, that you would love to see modeled someday, or that you would print the second it comes out?
Oh, God. I have to think on that, because there actually is like a small list that I kind of keep of like ones that what I do is I have a couple of different lists of costumes and cosplays, because I've finished like 10 to this point, kind of deal. I keep a couple of lists of stuff I've seen from different medias and medium and everything that I would love to do. kind of deal. And then from that list, I will say, okay, what does this require right now? What does this need and whatever else? And is there anything available out there for this? For example, there's actually a costume that I'm looking at right now that I've been working on, kind of slowly researching over the last like year or so, from probably one of my top favorite video games of all time is Ghost of Tsushima, which is a wonderful, amazing video game from Sucker Punch Studios, an historical fiction that is based on one of the Mongol invasions of Japan, specifically of the island of Tsushima itself. And there's a wonderful armor set in there that is based on, it's known as the Clan Sakai armor set. And there's not really any 3D printed elements in there, at least from what is in the game, because it's supposed to be based around like the 1300s or so kind of deal.
Okay, yeah.
So lots of leather that I already am, I already am.
You know what you're doing there. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing there. But what I was looking for was specifically the Oni mask kind of deal that is specific to that costume. And it took me until about 4 months ago to finally find somebody that not only did Oni masks, but also did Oni masks from the game. And so I was like, okay, immediate buy, snatch that up, print it out. And I actually bought a couple from this maker kind of deal, which was because they just look so good kind of deal. But that's definitely one example where I'm like, okay, instant buy, print right now.
Now is that something like you have an idea in your head? Is that something you can ever, with your boss, plant that seed? Like, hey, this, I think this might be a really good, good choice of model.
Done that with a few things. I would love to see like the cadet armor from season 1 of Clone Wars, where it's the cadet episode where they are looking at Domino Squad, and it's very much kind of like, you could tell that it's not quite clone armor in the way that the material is. It's almost like as if it's some sort of like heavy padding or whatever it is for the armor. But the helmet in particular, I think would be so fun to do. It's so simple. But that's definitely one aspect that I've thrown before. With him also having done the Venator, I would love to see an acclimator at some point. I have definitely thrown that in suggestions before. And said,
so maybe in the future, you just
let's do this.
Persistence outweighs resistance, so you just got to keep on him.
Well, he's done the Arquitans, but if you do the acclimator, you're doing like the quintessential, this is the start of the Clone Wars ship kind of thing. So come on.
So now I know you said you did quite a few cosplays.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm sure I can assume that you've been to many cons.
Prior to the pandemic, my first costume that I did for the 501st, I was from June of 2019, because that's when I started, to right up to the start of the pandemic. I did about 20 events in that time span. So from June of 2019 to like March or whatever it was of 2020, which is a lot. And especially when I was working, kind of weird hours at a part-time gig at Michael's at the time kind of thing. Or actually, no, I wasn't at Michael's. I was at a different job. But even still,
to have the time.
Exactly, to have the time to do that. And so, and I've been to other cons. I was actually several weeks ago, I was at Planet Con down in Missouri, which was an immense amount of fun. If you're ever in like the Kansas City area around when they're hosting Planet Con, it's an insane and amazing time. They've hosted that. I think they said that was like they were there for like 25 years kind of deal. So they've been around for a while. Yeah. And I think that I was only able to go, it's like a 3-day, setup, I want to say. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I was only there for Saturday, but they were saying that it was somewhere between 80 and 100,000 that were in attendance that day, which is insane.
a large event for sure.
Yeah, but no, I've been to Dragon Con. We're looking at going into Dragon Con again this end of August, early September kind of deal.
Now, do you always go in character to the cons, or is it kind of depends on the con, depends on the setup, or do you always?
It depends. Most of the time I will go in character kind of deal. We'll see what happens for Dragon Con kind of deal. We definitely went last year. We did the whole thing of where we went with our ODSTs that like the shop, started with that series with with Aaron and Jamie having done that. And then we had actually a crew of us that went and did like the parade, which was awesome. And we were joined up with the 405th parade, and that was intense because we were right up in front behind the color guard, so we were first in line
Right there. Yeah.
And normally, the groups go in and they're doing, it's about an hour and a half. Usually we booked it. We finished from, start to finish in about 30 minutes or so. It was fast. So
we're going to take some questions here from the audience. I've got a list here we can go through here, but let's see here. Creatrix Brit has a question. Says, how do you avoid sanding your props?
How do I avoid sanding my props? Well, here's the thing. Sanding is inevitable, but there are ways to go about minimizing how much sanding you're actually doing. The technique that we like to do in the shop a lot is using UV resin to coat the pieces, and then from there you can sand that. You clean it off with IPA, isopropyl alcohol, basically, because the residue that leaves behind is just nasty. And then you can work your way up from I usually go about like 180 thereabouts. I've even actually started testing out recently like wet sanding at 180 if my coats are good enough, and then like I've actually had a pretty good result with that. And then from there I'll hit it with filler primer, a nice really good coat of filler primer, let that sit overnight, and then I'll work my way into like 220 wet sand, and then if necessary do like the 300 series and the 400 series kind of deal. So sanding is inevitable, but there are ways to mitigate the amount of sanding that you're doing. Definitely having like a mouse sander. I personally run an orbital for some of the stuff that I do, even though that may potentially run risk of taking it down more, but it's kind of whatever works for you to get the end results. But I would definitely recommend the UV resin approach.
I've seen that a lot on a lot of props and everything else. Yep.
Yeah. Have proper ventilation for that. Have proper, face protection, gloves and whatever else, because that stuff can be nasty. The other method, and especially, this is especially such if there's like a highly detailed piece kind of deal. So, for like, say, a helmet, I'll UV resin coat that kind of deal, because there's a lot of like really, pretty significant surfaces that I'm not really worried about it getting into anything and messing up corners. But if there's any kind of detailed components, I'll actually go a different approach and use a mix of Bondo spot putty with acetone. And the reason why I do that mix is because it thins down the acetone to like a milkshake consistency. And I find that not only does it applies thinner and more evenly, but it also extends you're able to use more with less kind of deal, or you're able to cover.
It doesn't fill in those details.
Exactly. That's the other thing too. Yep.
Oh yeah. So then Britt also asked, can you name 3 to 4 cosplayers that you would recommend following on Instagram?
Oh boy. Oh God. That's because I follow a lot.
I follow a lot of them. This is not by any order. This is completely random. If anybody sees it, just four random ones, 3 to 4.
4 random ones. I can tell you the one that you should all go to right now. He's actually a former garrison mate of mine within the 501st. It's Odd Viking on Instagram. If you want anything with regards to weathering. Like, the dude is amazing. Like, if you he is like the person I always think about, and I always refer people to. If you want to weather this specific way, if you want to weather in this in another way, his Mandalorian outfit that he has for the Mandalorian mercs is bar none one of the best Mandalorian outfits that I've ever seen. Mainly because of the attention to detail that he has with the paint chippage, the different weathering aspects. He will use all Copic inks basically for like illustration. He will use like the refills for weathering and doing kind of that speckle design. It's crazy. So that's one right there. Odd Viking, great guy and everything. If you're really into clones, Jag-Eyes Hunter, that's another one. He's subsequently the detachment leader for the 501st Clone Trooper Detachment. I've known him for several years now. I'm on staff with him and everything. That's another one. Oh God, I'm trying to think of all these names because I know a lot of them by their first names, and I'm trying to think of like their IG handle.
What their actual handle is, yeah.
Yeah. There's another one.
Yeah. And if anything too is if any come to mind, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned this. Is General Spear is one of our application ambassadors for cosplay, specializing, as he said, in soft goods. I know we really didn't talk much about that, so I apologize. Soft goods, leather, whether it be capes, cowls, the other names that I don't know what they're called, but he does. He said a couple of them. But he is in the cosplay channel in Discord. So you guys ever have any questions on that or interested in more what he does? Of course, like I said, if you think of somebody that's really awesome, you can share it in the cosplay channel. And yeah, that's. I'm sure there's a long list, but like you said, it's remembering those handles. Yeah, like you see them every day, you scroll through, but what
and
are
that's the thing that I always try to do, because out of respect to the makers and everybody out there, and it's I realized how weird it was for me to do this when there's an artist who does my stickers kind of deal, my sticker designs. He goes by, I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's Matromos Designs or something like that. I'll link it in the cosplay channel or whatever it is later. But I know him on a first name basis as Juan. And when I was talking to a small crew of guys within the Galactic Armory Discord about who it was that did my stickers, I said, Juan, from X, Y, and Z kind of deal. And they were like, who? And I'm like, oh, sorry, here's the handle kind of deal. I'm so used to trying to learn people's first names because from one maker personable to another, exactly. It's more personable, the kind of deal. So,
oh yeah. Well, I think that's all for the audience questions. We're gonna move into the last part here. We're gonna end it off with some rapid fire questions. Fun, zany, not really any serious ones. And as I always say, you get a lot of internet points if you answer them wrong or right. There is no no wrong or right answer. But first off, with all that you do in cosplay, FDM or resin?
FDM.
FDM. Okay, that's that. With the detail, especially with the sanding, I'm sure it leads to that. Now we're gonna get more into the Star Wars aspect. Who is your favorite all-time Star Wars character?
Oh God. It's going to be either Revan or Plo Koon.
Okay. And then James is laughing in the background right now. I don't hear him, but I know he's laughing. He's like, Nighcore has no idea who that is.
You're right.
He teases me on all the knowledge of Star Wars. And when I have Google at my hands, I can answer all the Star Wars questions, and he hates it. But but on that note too, and this may get you in trouble with some of the audience members with Star Wars, what is your favorite all-time Star Wars show or movie?
For me, movie, it's gonna be Rogue One. And then for the show, I mean, there's been some bangers that have come out in the last several years, but I grew up with it. It's gotta be Clone Wars. That series just holds a place in my heart
Holds a
for me
heart.
specifically.
Yep. So then, of course, we're on a Polymaker show here. What is your favorite Polymaker filament? Color, material, they don't have to be the same.
Sure, sure. I've not tried many, I will say, but I've been really loving the COS PLA series.
Yeah.
I'm still back and forth of whether I like the B or A more.
Yeah.
But I've been really loving that. And it's kind of gotten me back into doing PLA stuff. I used to be a Pet G guy for a while, and it's like this stuff is nice.
Oh yeah. Yep. Easy to work with, especially with what you do. It's a
Yeah.
given. And then let's see here. Last but not least, would you ever shave your head? You got a nice set of hair there. Would you ever shave your head for a cosplay?
Nah. I won't shave my head, but I do have a wig that I have for a specific costume that I'm looking at doing pretty soon.
Oh,
So there is that.
awesome.
I won't shave my head though.
Yeah, fair. I would say like I don't have much to
my
shave.
my
So
wife
me,
would
it
kill
would
me.
be that's the last time I accidentally shaved and I notched when I was trimming and I had to shave my whole face. This was years ago. And yeah, my wife and my daughter actually for more of the most part was not pleased, not at all. Dad needs facial hair because he looks funny without it.
Right.
So now with that said, that is our segment. Before we let you go here, is there anything, any personal websites, socials that you want to share, plug that you think might
Yeah.
be fun for the audience?
Yeah, there's a Sea Spear Artist on Instagram. I post a lot of stuff on there. I'm going to be trying to do a lot more Instagram streams on there. I haven't gotten it back into it a lot this year, but I'm hoping to. I have a gaming channel on YouTube, General Spear, like it's like it's written out in the socials and everything here. Um, Follow Galactic Armory kind of deal. You'll see
Yeah,
me in there occasionally. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That all I can think of at the moment. So yeah.
awesome. Well, again, I appreciate it. And again, people, this is the application ambassador, one of our cosplay ambassadors. You do your stage presentations what, like every other Sunday?
Yeah, yeah. I'm taking a little
Typically
bit of
every
a
other Sunday.
yeah, I'm taking a little bit of a break because of my family moving
Oh yeah,
in. But yes, usually every other Sunday.
oh yeah. So, and I think the one time was it the second episode. What did you put something together super quick? Because me and James were talking about like you just you were was it a cow? There was
Let's
something I don't
see.
remember what it was, but I remember
I
afterwards. Me
did
and
a
James
next
talked about
I
it.
did a next seal the first one, and then I did a sheath. That's what it was. I
Okay.
did a sheath the next
Yep.
episode.
So he's definitely a master of soft goods. Of course, he knows his 3D printing too, and then being part of Galactic Armory, he's got an arsenal of things. So, but yeah, well, we'll let you go. And again, thank you for stopping by,
You're
and
welcome.
you have a good night.
You too.
James transition. There we go. Okay, there we go. I was waiting for the transition. James was delayed. So there we go. That was our Meet the Polymaker, everybody. Every week we try to get a new maker in here, and we're going to kind of change things up. We've been doing some application ambassadors. They're awesome, great to talk to because they're skilled at their applications by far. I've learned stuff from them just watching the presentations and even just talking to them in the show here. So that's been fun. We're going to be having some more guests, some pretty zany, crazy guests here in the future. So thank you for guys for all tuning in, watching. Other than that, as always, we just ask you if you enjoy what you see today, make sure you follow the channel. We do go live on Twitch and YouTube every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, Polymaker's got their socials. We got Instagram, Facebook, Polymaker underscore 3D. We have our TikTok. And of course, we have, and it still is just, I mention this every week. It's crazy with our Polymaker figurines of the amount that he's putting out. We're not at 251 yet, so you're still going to see new ones every 2 days. Those designs are going to be every time that they're posted and shared on the socials. Those models become available on Maker World. So there's pre-sliced ones. If you don't have multicolor, that's fine. You can print them in just a solid color. So amazing project. Those are that's also on all the socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Follow that. Follow them there. Check out every 2 days. Like I said, they're doing new ones. There's of course our partners. I got Zombie Hedgehog. We got Pezlis does a Polymaker show every Wednesday. Alternates between I believe it was 7 p.m. and 3:30. Follow her on Twitch. You'll see the times there. Always fun. She's there's a lot of new filament coming, so she's gonna have a lot of topics to talk about, some new colors to share. So That's going to be awesome. And I can finally officially announce our commercial channel is live. Apologize for the delay there. It is live. It's in our Discord. Anybody that has a fun, zany, creative idea, again, I've mentioned it. It does not have to be high production. Do it with your cell phone. Ask that you don't have it a vertical. Try to make it a 16:9 ratio. Have fun with it. Now, post it. Now we have the rules. Make sure to please read the rules. We shut off media in that channel, so it's not shared there. That way, your commercial is aired for the first time on the show. Kind of a surprise to everybody. The rules there will state, meet the polymaker at gmail.com. Email your submissions there. There is chat if you have questions. You can chat in that channel. You just can't share media. So, any questions? Make sure to read the rules. Ask them there. We'll answer them as needed. You could be displayed on the show, and if you are, per channel or per commercial, not per time it airs, you'll receive a filament coupon for polymaker.com for $100. So, we ask, put a little bit of effort into it, but it does not have to be, 8K with cinematic moves and drone shots and everything else. If you choose those, great. But you've seen ours. Those are just some fun examples that we've had fun with. Submit them. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing all that you guys have in your minds and what you create. So with that, that is the almost the end of the show. Real quick, I forgot to mention, real quick, guys, if you guys want to enter for your free a chance to have a free spool of filament, type in "I am awesome" in the chat. I'm gonna leave it there for about 30 seconds, so they kind of right close to the end of the show here. And I forgot to mention earlier to do it, but "I am awesome." Get your chance to win free filament. And that is going to be drawn here momentarily. So, coming up, I can see some people in the chat there getting in that last bit. Got a bit of an echo in the audio. That might be the setup here. Fine tuning there, Zombie. We're not pro streamers like Zombie yet, but we're getting there. I am a robot. Yeah, I could be. Robots have accents, right? I've yet to break any of those out in the show. I've been requested many times in Hangout. Okay, yep. And the raid tonight is going to be Digital Dragon 72. Does crazy things with a ton of different Voron builds. I think I haven't caught him in the last week, but I think he was doing a black box build from KB3D. So definitely hang tight, guys. We're gonna do the drawing. After that, we're gonna raid over to Digital Dragon. Make sure to tell them hi from Meet the Polymaker. We love to share with the community, and support the community across the board. So let's go ahead and do the drawing now. I think everybody's in that needs to be in. If you're not, I'm sorry, but we're going to do the drawing. And here we go. Nope, that way. Look at that. I'm mirrored. There we go. Okay, we are going to give a spool of filament to, I seen Zombie in there. Get out of there, Zombie. PT George. I think it says PT George. I have my screen way too small up there. Yes, PT George. So PT George, are you here in chat? And we will share. Need to email in chat. We're going to give a link to where you need to email. Just mention that you won Meet the Polymaker on 3/28, and we will get you that voucher. There he is. Awesome. Congratulations. You got yourself a spool of filament. So with that, we're going to end the show here. A little bit smoother on certain segments, so we're getting there. You guys hang tight. We're going to raid into Digital Dragon. Yep. And off we go. Have a good night, guys.